I want to start this video with a question, and it's not my question. It's not an original idea. I saw it somewhere. I couldn't tell you where, but it's a good question to consider, and I'm going to answer it. The question is, when we're able to go back to Lodge and conduct business like we did before all this mess happened, do you think that there's going to be a greater turnout for our meetings or a lower turnout based off the fact that no one's been able to go for a while? And I'll tell you, the answer depends. It depends on a lot. Because before all this happened, before I couldn't go to Lodge, I was spending 2 or 3 nights a week at Lodge. Different lodges, not just mine. And I enjoyed this. It was good. Good fellowship, good time spent, put some good degrees on, saw some good degrees. It was enjoyable, right? But when all this went down and we suddenly could not return to Lodge, I suddenly found that I had much more time to myself. Much more time I can spend doing studies, doing research, spending time with my family, and just generally doing things that I enjoy. And a lot of men did the same thing. I mean, we didn't have a choice. I was fortunate in that I still was going to work, but many people weren't even going to work, so that even gave them more time. So with this really kind of leaves me in a weird position, you know. Here in Texas, we can resume some activities as of May 25th. So we can hold meetings for elections of officers and stuff. And part of me is really looking forward to going back. But another part of me really isn't, you know. And you may have noticed my content is kind of slowed down a lot lately. You probably noticed my videos aren't really being polished like they were. Not that they were ever really very polished to start with. And that's really because, you know, when I'm away from Lodge for a extended period of time, it's kind of hard to maintain your enthusiasm. You know, I still read, I still study, and I still feel like I'm growing Masonically, but really the prospect of going back to Lodge isn't as exciting as it was before all this happened. So my point, and the answer to the question, the reason I say it depends on how attendance will go, is it really depends on how well things are presented, how well things go once we start going back to Lodge. I'll elaborate for you. So if brothers have been with their families for 1 or 2 months, doing all the things I suggested, and many of them they're doing many activities that they find very fulfilling with a newfound time. If they start going back to Lodge and all they're finding are reading in minutes, voting on petty things, deciding who's going to change the light bulb and when, and how much we want to pay for it, and things like that, organizing fundraisers and basically all the same things that were going on when we left that frankly weren't very exciting. If we keep doing those when we come back, these people, especially people that are kind of already on the fence, they're not going to stick around much longer because they have realized they're getting more fulfillment out of that time spent elsewhere than they were at the Lodge. On the other hand, if we use this as an opportunity to really reevaluate our practices, which it is a good opportunity to do so, if we use this opportunity, reevaluate our practices, and come back to Lodge strong, with strong programs, you know, good education, make the meeting meaningful, have a good meal, then yeah, I think you're going to start having more people showing up. People that came back are going to stick around, and more people are going to start coming again. So it really depends on our reaction when we come back. So yeah, we got to step up, because many of us that have been very active at the fraternity for an extended period of time, we are experiencing newfound appreciation for that time that is being spent elsewhere. And if many of us, if we go back and we sit in our seat, and the worship master stumbles through his opening and closing. Frankly, if anybody, you know, the warden and all the wardens and the worship master, and if nobody knows their lines and they stumble through it, and they read the minutes for 10 or 15 minutes, and then they read Grand Lodge Communications for another 10 or 15 minutes, and then they start bickering about a fundraiser, and then close. Yeah, it's not going to be hard to see that people aren't going to want to stick around. So I guess this is a call to action. You know, if you want to see your lodge grow, if you want to see healthy things happening in the fraternity, take advantage of this situation for what it is. It's a transitional point. It is a big deal. Even if the reason that we aren't meeting isn't a big deal, depending on your own viewpoint, and I won't get into that. But the fact that we, nationwide, worldwide, in probably almost all situations, the fact that we've all taken an extended hiatus from Freemasonry indicates that this is a great time to take a step back, reevaluate what we're doing, and really reconsider if we're doing things the right way. And if we don't, you're going to see a lot less people showing up, because we have that newfound appreciation. So that's all I want to say. You know, think about it. And if you're not sure where to start, check out my website. I got so many articles talking about things you can do. Many of the articles have videos that talk about the same thing. So you can check out the YouTube channel here, or you can check out my website, which I'll link below in the description. But there are lots of different options, and you don't have to like them all. You don't have to do them all. And I wouldn't suggest you try doing them all at once. But pick something you know your lodge can improve on. Run it by whoever you have to run it by, and just do it. The easiest, most low-hanging fruit I would recommend is do some kind of Masonic education. Second to that, make a good meal. I'm not talking about like a bean chili dinner or anything like that. Steak or something. Make it good. And if you're worried about money, that's another thing. That's why I say the lowest and most easiest thing to do is some kind of Masonic education. And I'm not talking about, what is that stuff called? I'm not talking about those little Masonic Minute periodicals or whatever. No. Come up with some research on your own. Do your own research. Grow as a Mason. Present what you learned. And if you don't have the time for that, if you don't know where to start reaching out. There are many Masonic scholars all over the country. No matter where you are, there are probably one or two Freemasons that would be willing to come give a presentation at your lodge. Start with that. Presentations are great. Make your meetings worthwhile, or you're going to start finding that you're not going to have as many people showing up as you would like. In fact, you may see that you have less people showing up than you did before this all happened. And for many lodges, that is a very bad thing. That's all I got. Later, brothers.